If you've been second guessing yourself lately, I want you to stick with me through this video. Not because you're doing something wrong, not because you've lost clarity, but because you're experiencing something that's more common than you think. Usually means that something important is about to shift. And as we are starting this new year, it may be the right time for things to shift. I talk to a lot of people who say the same thing over and over again in different ways, of course. I don't trust myself like I used to, or I'm feeling uncertain. I keep questioning my decisions. I feel like a fraud. I feel unsure, even when nothing's wrong. And I've been there too. And what's interesting about this is that most of the time, it's not that we're feeling confused. We aren't really confused about anything. It's just an overwhelm by all the noise that's happening around us. External opinions, external comments, external, just the noise, the expectations, even from ourselves, from within our own mind chatter that goes on within. And that pressure really brings us to a point where we start to question what we're doing and what's happening. Recently I noticed myself doing something very familiar. I had already made a decision and I felt calm about it. Clear, everything was I was just like, okay, I've made a decision. And I caught myself reaching for my phone. And not to change my mind, not because I needed advice, but that's when it hit me. I wasn't second guessing myself. I was waiting for permission to do whatever it was. And that moment stopped me. I stopped and I thought, no, you know what? This is a pattern that I'm used to. In fact, seeking permission or acknowledgement to proceed with what I know feels right and what I know. And I'm sure that you've been there too. It changes how you see everything once you catch yourself in these patterns. It's second guessing doesn't always mean that you don't trust yourself. It also means that you've trained yourself to look outside of you before you look inward, waiting for everybody's approval, waiting for everyone's acknowledgement, waiting for some sort of confirmation. And we learn this early on, because we understand that feels safe. That agreement feels comforting. It makes us feel like we're doing the right thing. That approval, it kind of quiets that inner doubt that we have within. And so we explain. We check, we, repeat things, we ask more than one person, and not because we're unsure again, it's because we're trying to manage how things land, how everything is, and it's exhausting. It's really, really exhausting. I used to explain all my decisions like I was defending a thesis constantly. And whether it was to myself, whether it's to my best friend, or whether it was to somebody, it was like I always needed to feel like I needs to justify why I said no, why I changed my mind, why I was doing the things that I needed to do, or why I needed the space. It was interesting. Just yesterday, I was at a postal annex, and I was mailing off a package, and the machine wasn't working. And I was just standing there, and they had processed everything, but they could not have me pay for the package because that other machine that they needed to put in a number wasn't working well. And I stood there. I didn't say anything. I was perfectly fine, just kind of looking around, observing, and just being in the moment. And the cashier took about 5 minutes to explain to me, I think at least 2 or 3 times, why it wasn't working and why it was taking so long. I think she was really anxious and, that I was going to be upset. And I just kept on reassuring her. I said, it's okay. I said, it's absolutely fine. I am in no hurry. Take your time, figure it out. We'll work it out. It's okay. And it got me thinking about this. It's like, why do we explain this? Halfway through explaining, I would think whenever I used to do that a lot is, why am I working so hard to justify something that I already know that feels right to me? And I think that we all do this. It comes from a trusting, a quiet part of yourself that already knows. That's when I realized that clarity doesn't need convincing. Trusting yourself isn't a dramatic thing. It's a natural thing. It's a quiet thing. And quiet can feel uncomfortable, especially in a world that's full of noise. So when you start to not explain your reasons for things and you stop that explain, your nervous system panics a little bit because it's so used to doing it. It's like, oh my gosh, should I add more? Should I explain more? Do they understand? Do they think I'm cold? Do they think I'm insensitive? But the truth of it is that silence isn't disconnection. It's not that. It's confidence without having to feel like you have to perform. And it does take practice. Here's something that's simple that you can try. I want to leave you with today. The next time that you feel the urge to second guess or seek reassurance outside yourself, pause and ask yourself this one question. Am I asking because I need information in order to make an informed decision, or because I need permission? If it's permission, I want you to wait. Sit with the discomfort, even for 5, 10, 15 seconds. If your answer doesn't change, you already trust yourself more than you think. You're not behind. You're already doing it. You're not doing life wrong. You're doing it perfectly just fine. You're just learning as you go. You're learning how to listen to that inner intuition, that inward wisdom. And instead of outsourcing your confidence and stuff, you're finding it within. And that is true growth. If this helped you feel a little bit clearer, a little bit calmer, you're in the right place. Thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe to the channel. Be sure to share this with friend, family, or colleague, or anybody that you may know that could be going through this. If you want these conversations and to learn more about personal growth, we don't rush here. We don't perform. It's just about having true conversations and trusting ourselves and taking life one moment at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time.